Hi everyone, it's Roger here from the weekly Q&A. So this week, as per usual, we are live here on YouTube. You can become a member or a Patreon subscriber as well, at which point you can then contribute to the weekly Q&A. And if you are a YouTube live member, you can join right now in on the live chat. I see we've already got Joe and Caleb. Hopefully they can hear me. So you can become a member to ask questions. You can also use the super chat function to do so. We have got tons and tons of questions that have come in today. Been quite a few questions, which is great. We've also got some live ones coming in. So as per usual, what I tend to do is I jump into the pre-prepared ones that have already been sent in by Patreon and YouTube channel members, and then kind of jump in and out of the live chat. If you are watching live and you're a YouTube channel member, feel free to give feedback on the questions and stuff as we're going along. I can see here that Joe can hear me, which is always a good sign. And also Caleb said that he will not be here live, but he has sent in a question, but he's actually got quite a few. So I'm going to jump into them in a little bit. So let's jump into some of the questions. So usually I like to start off with the main one at the beginning, which is the one of the title. So CL Tan asks, with Pixar's Turning Red going straight to streaming on Disney Plus, whether the box office prospects for future animated family film orientated or Disney or otherwise, and it's continued, can't help but be concerned that more families with young kids would choose to watch family orientated movies at home as a result of the prolonged pandemic. And the similar kind of question, which I'm going to go into here. Steve also asked, what are your thoughts on Turning Red hitting Disney Plus instead of cinemas? Do you see the same treatment for Lightyear? So I did do a little video yesterday, but I'm going to go for it again because it was obviously some big news. So I definitely feel like with this whole thing with obviously Turning Red now going to Disney Plus in March, it is the third Pixar movie, and there's a lot of talk going on right now about it not being good for people's staff morale at Pixar and all the rest of it. And I can't help but feel like, had it been switched the other way around and Encanto was coming out now, would they have done the same thing? And I feel like that is very possible. They found out this time last year with Raya and the Last Dragon that the Premier Access didn't work. They didn't bring in a lot of numbers at the box office. And they might need some content for Disney Plus just to boost it up through this coming winter. So there's a lot of issues. This whole thing about sort of getting kids and families to go back to cinemas, this has been reducing constantly. This has just been something that's been getting sort of worse and worse, even before the pandemic. Families do go to see big movies, but there's generally a different kind of audience, and they tend to be going much less because it costs so much to go to cinema. It's not just that; it's the candy, the popcorn, the drinks, which I know a lot of families and stuff do. It's always funny because I was always in the family that we always used to sneak food in, and I've carried on that tradition till now. I've never associated going to cinema with buying stuff at the cinema. You always sneak it in your coat and all the rest of it. But I definitely feel like moving forward, we are going to see. We are probably going to see more of these sort of family films. I know that with pretty much all the other studios, they've been very kind of hit and miss with the family films. They've been sending them to their streaming services. I mean, a lot of people have been bringing up Sing 2 and saying, well, they sent it to cinemas before Christmas and it made a lot of money. They did, but they're also releasing it on digital in 3 weeks. It's only got 3-week run. Now, I think actually Turning Red would have probably been fine as a 30-day exclusive like Encanto, but you look at how Encanto is just blown up since it's dropped onto Disney Plus. So many more people have seen it, and that's where the value is. And I think we've got to stop looking at being at cinemas being different to streamers. I don't think there's quite as much emphasis on it. I know when I went to see Toy Story 4 was the last animated movie I saw in the cinema other than Encanto, but I was at a press screening, so it was a bit different. So Toy Story 4, there was kids running around all over the place. Parents were on their phone because they were bored, and I'm gonna know it was rather distracting. So when I watched like Raya and the Last Dragon on Premier Access and watched, it's like, yeah, it is a lot easier. But I do think there is going to be less people going to cinema, families and stuff, because they can watch it at home. But I think that was happening anyway. And a lot of families were doing Premier Access because they thought it was cheaper. That was a really big thing. As far as Lightyear coming to Disney Plus first, I think it's still going to have a theatrical window. I think it might be longer than 30 days because I think Toy Story has a bit more established name to it. But also, it's going to be in the middle of the summer. And as we found over the last couple of years, the summer tends to see where cases drop, and people are the virus generally seems to be in a much different place in the summer. So I think Lightyear is probably in a much better spot just in terms of where it's coming out. I mean, you look at like last year and the year before, generally the summer seems to be a little bit more easier. Thing here from Joe: why is it only Pixar movies coming to Disney Plus instead of Walt Disney Studios? I think it's timing. I think it's just pure timing of Turning Red is just in a real bad spot, being right in the middle of this winter. Omicron hadn't hit the US, I think, hadn't hit when Encanto came out. So I think had it been different, I know, and that's kind of the thing. I think it's just the way it's hit with Disney's, with Pixar's. But I honestly believe Lightyear will be going to cinemas. I think they're probably even more likely to send it there now because of what's going on now. So I definitely think that I think a lot of it is just timing. Right, let's have a look here. Okay, so we're now going to jump into some of the more pre-done questions just in advance. So let's have a look here. So let's go on to. So Caleb said it was reported that Warner Media and Viacom are planning to end their joint venture and sell the broadcast network. And he went on to say, do you see more media companies selling off their linear channels in lieu of shutting down entirely? I think we're going to see more channels shutting down. I think it's like trying to sell it seems a little bit of a funny thing, really, because it's only if someone's willing to buy it. Ultimately, if that channel isn't making enough money, it might end up just closing anyway, but they obviously want to try and sell it to make some money. So that's obviously a key thing. But I think we're definitely going to see some more channels being tried to be sold off or just shut down completely. Kevin said, are there any plans for shows like NYPD Blue or older David E Kelley shows coming to Disney Plus, or any plans for the Wonder Years or Doogie Howser? I've not heard anything. There's been no mention of it. More likely, obviously, internationally, if they've got the distribution rights. Some of the problems with those older shows is they actually don't have sometimes the rights to the music, and they've got to renegotiate with actors and all the rest of it. So it's not quite as easy as just popping them on. But some of it is down to music, and especially also internationally. Elliot says, do you hope that Disney Plus will add more content from their Disney Vote, or has that already been has already been added? I think we might be missing some shows. There's actually, I think in the US, there's about 800 plus to 900 plus titles. There is hundreds of titles missing all over the world, especially when you go into the votes and you go back, kind of if you go back beyond like the 80s, you go back into the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, there are tons of movies missing, tons of specials, tons of shows. From the 20th century Fox side, there's even more. There is a massive amount. I'd love it if they could kind of become like almost like along the lines of, right, we're going to put out one or two movies, every week, and just kind of keep adding to that library. But there was a lot in there. But it's not quite as simple as we all like to believe. It's not just a case of just taking it off a shelf and popping the DVD in. Okay, we've got a few more live questions. So let's have a look here. Let's just jump in to have a look here, see what we've got. So Joe said, so glad that Big Sky is back on Disney Plus in the UK, and I'm loving this season. Yes, watched the first episode last week. I've watched this week's episode already. I've had a few screeners because I love this show. It's one of my favorite shows, and we really enjoy watching this one every week. So I'm really glad it's back. I wish we got it back in September when it came out. Joe said, when is West Side Story coming to Disney Plus in UK and Ireland? Well, I guess it's going to be 45 days afterwards. So I'm guessing I'm thinking February. I can't see it making much more money in the cinema, especially with the current restrictions and stuff. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if we get it announced in February. Ricardo said, it's very strange that Disney always choose Pixar movies to go straight to Disney Plus without Premier Access. It's like they want to stop using the brand. I don't think it's that. I think it's they had so much success with Soul and Luca. They were massive hits on Disney Plus, and I don't think sometimes that's getting taken into account of like the term of success of like box office numbers and streaming numbers doesn't necessarily mean that the Disney Plus releases of those two movies have been huge, massive numbers in terms of the initial launch, how many people signed up, but also the continued watching. We've seen it with Encanto as well since it's been dropped. There's a lot of people watching it. I think the term of success it's not always about the first way of making, you make money over here, but if you're making money over here as well, and this makes just as much, this isn't so bad. You've got to look at it from different sides. Joshua said, any news on what's going on again with the allegedly shutdown of National Geographic and Wild in the UK? So this is in reference to a digital spies forum where it's been rolling on for a few months about like the UK channels closing down. So I heard about this earlier in the week. It has closed down on BT. It closed down at the beginning of this year. I have reached out to Disney. What they responded to me with was they actually gave me a list of everything that's coming to the National Geographic channel in February. So it was a response with kind of basically saying, look, here's all the stuff coming to those two channels. So as far as my response from Disney, it was that it's still there. It's still coming. Whether or not that could change, I mean, I know like with the Discovery channels, when they got removed off of Now, it was quite last minute. If they might have done this deal, I think, to get the Scandinavian, they might continue showing it, but they might not have the rights. Now TV have seemed to have extended the dates on a lot of stuff. We're going to have to wait and see, but as far as I've been told, there's still plans for showing stuff in February. So that's what's going on with it now. It's a bit of an odd one with that one. Two Big Rose says, I don't think Bob's Burgers, the movie, will be released to streaming and will still be a theatrical since the creator wants it in the movie. I think the thing is with the Bob's Burgers movie is in some ways it's the exact opposite situation because it's going from television just to the cinema. The whole point of it going to the cinema was to see it in the cinema and have that option. So I can see why they want to hold off to it. And I think, by the time maybe the end of April comes around, hopefully we're in a better spot. But it's probably a lot cheaper for them to make. And I don't think the money on it is going to be as big anyway, because Bob's Burgers is a much smaller investment. But I don't think it would, because I think it's and as he said, it is the distributor's choice. But I think they'll just hold on to Bob's, and I think they'll put it out because I think it's mainly adults anyway. It's not a kids movie. Let's have a look here. Josh has said, once the Warner Discovery deal is complete and the sale of the CW goes through, do you think it will affect Disney at all? I think it's just competition. More competition means that Disney Plus will have to get better. And if HBO, I think, HBO Max with Discovery is then going to get this massive influx of new content. And it's really going to give the National Geographic side a little bit more of a run for their money, Alan. So whether or not, they push National Geographic a little bit more on Disney Plus, but I think it's all going to impact on it, but it's all just down to that kind of investment side of things. Joshua also said, as Disney have an investors call coming up shortly, what type of announcement do you think they like to make prior to the call to please the investor? I think we're going to see some international dates. There'll be of launches to give an outline of what's coming up in terms of new subscribers. We'll obviously get a new update, which should include then South Korea and Taiwan and Hong Kong launches. So there should be a little bit of a bump. And obviously with the Disney Plus Day bump, and with just people being at home, I think that will help. I wouldn't be at all surprised. This is going to be its first time for Chapek to go out without Iger being around. This would be a good time to maybe announce that they've sorted something out of Hulu. I'm not expecting any major kind of announcement just yet in terms of what they're doing with Disney Plus. They might do it. I mean, that could be a good day to do it. But yeah, I think it's more about just trying to drum up some more issues. I mean, if they're going to announce, we're going to start putting some more mature shows or ABC shows on there, that would be the best day to do it. Joe said, why didn't French Dispatch and Antlers come to Disney Plus in the UK? They'll be coming at some point. Antlers is already available in some countries. French Dispatch, I think, is coming next month or later this month in Singapore. I think I've seen that one already. Looks to me like they've been doing a little bit of a different strategy. They've released them digitally to rent. They're probably looking at trying to work out how they make the most money from these movies. I think that might be the issue. I think that's probably what it is. And also maybe just to bulk up. But it's still early. I mean, we've still got 20 plus days of January left, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if one of them drop in. Ricardo said, with the news that Warner Media and Viacom CBS are looking to buy the CW, you think that the channel could stop airing original programming and only show reruns? I suspect they've already been pretty much cutting back already. I know a lot of the CW shows have moved over to HBO. Yeah, they're just not going to invest so much in it. There's definitely going to be something for that one. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to if you keep popping in your live questions, but I'm going to just jump into some of the pre-done ones in advance. Okay, so right, here we go. So Elliot asked, do you hope that Disney Plus will add more content from the... I think we've done that one. I'm also looking forward to the Disney shows based on movies like Tiana and I think Moana. Moana is going to be a big one. I mean, has been a massive hit on Disney Plus, and she's also and Elliot's also looking forward to Peter Pan and Wendy. It's good. Connor said, I've read something on Twitter about Disney Plus testing 4th and 8th tabs internationally on for FX. Do you think this reflects on integral on these two? Yeah, so this was, I think, in Latin America that this was happening with the testing. I did see something about it, but I think it's on Star Plus rather. I don't know quite. I did go through the code, couldn't find anything on that one. I think they're looking at like doing some sub tabs or something like that. But the trouble is with coding is that sometimes this stuff doesn't necessarily come to light as well. But I think the Star Hub could end up having a little bit of a rejig. Whether or not we have all the tabs going along, I don't know. It's going to be hard to tell. But I think there is going to be a reshuffle at some point because just Star's so packed. Aero said Disney have an investors day in February and their shareholders meeting in March. So we've kind of covered on that one already. Stuart said Disney use a clip from the movie on Disney Plus instead of the original trailer for archive films. Would it be better, in your opinion, if they could use trailers originally produced for the film? Generally, I would do. Again, it depends on, are those trailers in high enough quality? I know when I'm trying to find trailers, sometimes they're not in the same, they're not in 1080p and all the rest of it. So whereas the movie might be. Also, if there was music used in the trailer, that they might not have rights to, that might be another issue. And they're not going to edit one together or put one together. I think they'll put it on there if they've got a decent enough quality of it. But there probably would have been a logistics reason why it wasn't. Too Big Rose said, I think chances of FX on Star section are slim due to licensing deals FX has internationally with the BBC, UK, Foxtel, Australia, New Zealand, and Sky, with Mexico shared with Star Plus. Well, the one with the UK one is ended. That's over. And I don't know if the Foxtel one in Australia was over yet. That might be a good reason why they've not included it yet. It looks like Canada, they're doing something over there with the amount of FX content. But you're spot on. And that might be why we didn't see the FX stuff dropping so quickly and why they've not made such a big deal of it straight away. I definitely think that was the case. Connor64 said, do you see Disney Plus, 20th Television, and FX developing more science fiction, fantasy, and adventure shows? I think these shows in this duo will be big for Disney Plus, Star, and Hulu. I hope so. So, for me, I would say that those are the themes I would like them to do more. Definitely would like them to do a little bit more. Two Big Rose said, could Disney work out a deal with Fox Corporation to share the first run rights with Disney Plus on US and FOXNOW? Definitely. They could definitely do a deal. I mean, I think they've already kind of got that deal with Hulu already, so they could probably sort it out. But it depends whether or not Disney want to give money to Fox. You've got to look at it the other way of, yes, they can buy those shows and they could license that stuff, but would they rather put that money into investing in their own shows that they own? That's the key thing. That's what you've got to look at. Licensing deals can be good, but also you're spending money on somebody else's content. You're basically renting a show at that point. Two Big Rose said, whatever happens at FX on Hulu show the platform? I think it was renamed The Premise. That's right. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it's been called. I watched a couple episodes. Wasn't so keen. I didn't bother. I think I watched like 3 episodes and didn't go back. Tracy said, please can you tell us when the UK are going to get some more episodes of the miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir? It's my other fandom alongside Star Wars in the US, and they got 7. I think I don't know if the UK actually got them before the US, because we were getting like new episodes of Miraculous Ladybug like weekly for ages. As far as I go, is when I only know when they're coming when Disney informed me that they're going to be coming. So I don't know in advance if they're coming, but I know that the US got some recently, but I assumed they were what we already had here in the UK. Steve said, do you think Disney Plus will see a Star anniversary celebration in February where they drop loads of StarCon to celebrate a year? I would love that to be. I mean, I think it would be a good thing, but then I can't help but wonder if their way of kind of celebrating the launch of Star could be to change Star and give us a big... If they were going to announce a big update for them, that'd be right around the time of the investors call. Maybe say, right, we're bringing the hot Star content in, or we're doing a big shift with having all the... if you're going to do the announcement, that'd be a good time with it. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's some more stuff thrown in there. And this is from Steve as well. Samsung announced a freestyle projector, and you'll be able to stream Disney Plus on the projector. It also has a shortcut on the remote. Could you see TV remotes? I have seen, I think, like Now TV. I have seen some remotes with it in, and I think it's just down to the producers of those boxes are going to be looking at what are the most used apps. So as long as Disney Plus is in the top tier in terms of apps, then that's when they'll put it on there. That's why. So we've got 2 more questions that are pre-done, and then we're going to jump into the live comments. So I can see we've got a couple of comments, so keep bringing them in. We've got about another 20, 25 minutes. Connor said, I reckon Amazon's distribution deal signed in 2017 with Regency is over, especially with the majority of UK surprise drops in recent weeks being Regency films. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah, I totally think that deal is now coming to the end. You know, the fact that Regency films are dropping onto Disney Plus in the UK and in Australia as well. And they've recently re-signed. They've just signed a new deal with Regency to release content. So I definitely feel it. And it was just good because there's some great movies coming that Ad Astra is a movie I want to watch. I haven't watched Widows. It was on Channel 4 the other day, but I didn't see it. Bohemian Rhapsody, I want to watch again because that's definitely really cool. I've never seen the Relevant. I did actually watch the one on Netflix today with Leonardo DiCaprio, and that was a really weird movie. I'm just looking here at some of the other ones. Yeah, I mean, the fact like the Big Short, that was. There's been quite a few Regency ones dropping on, and I think we are going to see much more of this going forward. Just looking at here, for example, I'm just looking here at the list of stuff. These are the movies on Regency's website, and there's a lot of them here. 20th Century weren't involved in all of them, but I mean, we want to get Daredevil. That's definitely one I want to see on Disney Plus at some point in the future. I mean, they recently added Fight Club. But yeah, there's a load of movies here that hopefully will end up internationally on Disney Plus at some point. And final question that was pre-done in advance before we jump back into the live chat. Steve says, what shows or movies would you like to see drop on Disney Plus in the future from the Star brand that's not already on Disney Plus? So there's a load of some of the ones coming up in Australia that are just airing in the US. Single Drunk Female, I think Abbott Elementary. I like to see them on there straight away. I'm looking forward to watching Hit Monkey when that drops a little bit later. I would have loved as well for Disney and to sort out this stuff with the Hulu originals. A movie like Sex Appeal and some of the other movies that they've had. I'd like them to sort of start working their deal that they get them internationally as well on Star. That'll be what I'd like them to do in the future, is not just licensing. Like there was a movie that dropped onto Netflix recently that also dropped onto Hulu. I think Mother Android or something. It's like that would have been so cool if that had been an international rollout. All right, so I'm just going to take a quick drink before we jump into the live chat. Right, okay. Let's see what we've got. Keep popping in. Josh said, isn't Regency part owned by Disney due to the Fox purchase? I don't know. I thought they might own a share of it, but you got to remember, if it's still a share, it's for Regency's directors and owners and other shareholders, they will have to get the best deal they can. So this is why we've seen content like A&E content and stuff be licensed out, because they have to go and find the best deal, and that doesn't necessarily mean that Disney in it. I mean, you would think it would do, but generally, you could see that kind of thing happening. Two Big Rose says they added a Daredevil movie on Star Plus in Latin America. Cool, that's cool. I haven't seen that movie in ages. For Latin America, why didn't Disney just launch ESPN Plus? I think they were just experimenting. I think they were trying to see if they could do it. Maybe that. I mean, I don't know what the sports situation's like in Latin America, but is there enough sport to keep ESPN running? That might be, that definitely might be an issue. All right, let's see what else we've got. Okay, so done that one. We did that one. So here's something you haven't reported yet. The Bob's Burger movie trailer will debut Monday during the CFP Championship, and that's according to comicbook.com. Good. Once it drops, I don't tend to do like trailer announcements, because if I don't, I only tend to do the trailer news when they actually get released, because so many of the times the leakers and the scoopers and stuff maybe are wrong. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but if it drops during a championship, probably likely for me on a Tuesday. CF, yeah. So that's why I don't tend to report on the trailers until I actually know that until we have them. Joe said he can't wait for Tailspin coming to Disney Plus in the UK and Ireland on the 19th of January. How many episodes will be available? I know there's 65, but I know 2 episodes are banned. Don't know yet. They did just say season 1, so I'm hoping they put all of them on there. I can't see why they need to spread them out. Too Big Rose said, since Golden Palace is coming to Hulu tomorrow, could it come to Star internationally? If they have got the rights. Again, it comes down to music and all the rest of it. If they've done a digital transfer, that's good. That means now Hulu's got Disney have got a good version, but it also depends if they've got subtitles and dubbing, and they've got to get all that sorted. So Joe says he can't wait to see Scream in cinemas tomorrow. Are you going to watch it? I did actually go watch Scream at the cinema the very first time it came out. I think I watched Scream 2. I don't know if I've watched any more. I will probably watch it when it arrives on Amazon or Netflix. I'm not a huge horror fan. I'll be honest. I don't tend to watch a lot of horrors. I've probably watched more horrors, like in the last. I think the only 2 horrors I can think of recently were the Night House and Antlers. So I'm not a big fan of horrors. So I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. I will watch Scream because I've established it, but it's not a major one for me. Too Big Rose said, it's funny how Raya and the Last Dragon came to Disney Plus Premier Access, yet the Pixar movies come for free, as if Disney was playing favorites. I don't think it's about treating Pixar differently or Walt Disney Animation differently. I honestly don't think it. I think it's just down to Soul obviously was in the middle of the pandemic. The cinemas were still closed at that point, so they couldn't do that one. And Mulan, and they needed content. You got to remember, we didn't have any of the Marvel series when Soul had dropped. So we didn't have a lot. So that was a big hit for them. And Mulan maybe didn't do as well as they wanted. They did another experiment with Raya, and it didn't work. They did try a few more ones. Luca was that same situation of, they just done it with Raya, and Raya had proven that the Premier Access didn't work. So that might be why they had to. And also, we got to think, when they made the kind of the thing with how Luca, we were still just getting into the vaccination. They probably would have had to have made a decision on where they were spending the money, maybe in like March, April. They maybe even earlier than that. They kind of had to keep that rolling on. And also, animation can make a lot less, especially if it's a non-branded one. I think Raya and the Last Dragon probably would have been better off just being a Disney Plus original, because it didn't do that great at the box office. But I don't think it's about playing favorites, because why? I mean, I had someone comment the other day about, like trying to take money away from, like, well, they owned it, Pixar. They own it. Joe said, I wonder when the other Alien and Predator movies will come to Disney Plus in the UK. I thought they came off. Yeah, it's a shame they're not on there. I mean, maybe, I don't know why they've not put them on there. That's definitely odd. Joshua said, most films with films and TV shows not coming are due to a hybrid of distribution deals, music rights, which can cause considerable problems. And this is it. It's not, like I said, it's not just about like taking a DVD off the shelf and popping it on Disney Plus. There's a lot of legal issues. There's quality issues. They have to be high quality. You can't just put on there really bad, like grainy video. They're going to have to make sure that they've got all the legal contracts in terms of who's got the rights to distribute it. Sometimes as well, they need to pay the actors, depending on the contract they had with that show. You also got music rights to sort out. That's why sometimes they edit music out of stuff. Yeah, it's not quite as easy as I think as a lot of, and also they've got subtitles, all kinds of things. My VCR said, I think for the next couple of years, Disney and other studios won't release movies at the beginning of the year. I think the trouble is we're getting in that situation of like the flu and this around the holidays and this in these couple of months. Generally, have never really been a huge time for releasing movies out like after Christmas. I think like they don't tend to release it. That's why a lot of the big ones come out in the summer. So there's definitely an aspect to people being ill and not wanting to go out. I know it's like now it's pouring rain, it's windy, it's like 6 degrees outside. It's probably even colder than that. You got snow and you got the ice and you got to get there. Do you want to, or do you just wrap up on at home? I know what I like to do. Two Big Roasters. I think the Bob's Burgers will come to Disney Plus, and the series will stay on Hulu. I think they're going to tell people it's to get the bundle. Depends on if they're going to put the movie on, then they're going to put the show on there. To me, that's it. You can't split it that way. And also with Bob's, they could put Bob's Burgers on Disney Plus. That would be a way of giving a little bit more content. Joshua said, with the success of Encanto, do you think it'd be likely that they go down the Lion King and Frozen route and create a Broadway West End musical with a live action maybe. I mean, I think that's much more likely to see a West End version. I don't think a live action one is just yet, because I think that'll be a while to go. But they'll be doing stuff maybe on the cruises. They'll do it at the parks, see what the reaction is, see how that goes maybe before they do West End. And also they've got to get the West End and like Broadway have kind of got to get back on track, because they're loads of them have shut down at the minute. Yeah, I definitely feel Disney also tend to like to sit back and see how things move along. I mean, you think of like how big successful Moana has been, and they've not really done a lot with that one yet. Joe said Disney Plus has a coming soon section, yet there's not using much content except for, yeah, they're doing this all over the place. I think, in all honesty, I think they launched this with the idea of that they could do it. And you think since they announced put this coming soon section in, they've changed the date of Sneakerella, they changed the date of Buck Wild for half the world. Hit Monkey disappeared. Half the stuff they announced in advance doesn't turn up. Personally, don't put it on there unless they know. It would be better if they do that, but look how many no-shows they do. I mean, it'd be folks advertising maybe if they did it that way. I don't know. Personally, like, if you're not going to do it, take it away. Or you're just going to put in trailers of just, I mean, like the Willow one on there. Like, why are you putting that on there? You know, they just sat around a park bench having a chat. You know, it's like, yeah, I don't know why they're doing that one. So we've done that one already. Two Big Rose said, my theory for Ice Age 6 coming to other countries is to make I don't think it's making room. I think there's got to be some like technical issue with subtitles or something, or dubbing. Josh says, have you ever thought about perhaps doing a video explaining how distribution rights work? I think it would be a very good video to do. I must make a note about that, because I think that would be a very good kind of evergreen video to make when if I'm on vacation. That could be a good one to do, actually. Yeah, I'm going to make a note of that one. Joe said, have you noticed recently a lot of movies are being shared between Disney Plus and Amazon? Well, that could be different contracts in place where they don't have exclusive rights. And also, I was thinking of this the other day. It makes sense in some way for Disney to still make money from some of their classic content. You know, we're licensing it out to, you know, like the BBC, Channel 4, you know, putting it on other channels, especially here in like the UK and in other countries where, you know, in the US it makes more sense to put it on ABC, but it makes sense to license out content, you know, randomly, like putting out content just to kind of, you know, bring in revenue. I don't think everything has to be exactly exclusive, especially on older titles, but I think a lot of this stuff is that they're maybe non-exclusive, or they recently rejigged their deal. Tracy Skywalker said, well, is that Tracy from Thunderbirds? I think that is, isn't it? Will Disney ever put 20th century movies from the 30s and 40s and the 50s on Disney Plus? It'd be nice to have a section devoted to classics. Definitely, I'd love that. I'd really love that. Because I've never really watched a lot of them, but I know there'd be a massive audience of older fans and movie fans that would love to have more of this stuff. But again, it's going to come down to, are they good, you know, and, you know, have they got good copies? Have they got the audio? Have they got the rights to do it? But definitely would love that. I think, and a lot of people would love to see them really starting to dive into that's why I wish they'd started doing it. I really do. But yeah, spot on. Joe said, what's going on with Mixed episode release schedule for the UK? It says that episode 21 came out a week ago, but it was episode 22. Oh, are we missing an episode? To be honest, because I've been watching Mixed Dish, and I've been really enjoying it, actually. But I didn't realize there was an episode missing. But yeah, maybe there was, I don't know why, maybe they've got something wrong with it, but yeah, this is a really good show. And do you know what as well? What gets me with Mixed Dish is why? Yeah, so episode 22 came out. Oh yeah, so we're missing episode 6, as you said, and episode 21's there. Yeah, looks like we're just missing an episode somewhere. But yeah, Mixed Dish to me is actually a show which would make so much sense to put on Disney Plus in the US as well and get that everywhere else. Just because, I mean, it's about a load of kids at high school. About kids at high school. It's really just sort of bewildering why they don't do that one. Josh has said perhaps you could ask. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to do a little bit more research on that one. Two Big Rose said for some reason the Spanish audio of Brickbury on Disney Plus is the El Salvador dub instead of the Mexican or Argentina dub. Yeah, see, this is the trouble. When they put the stuff out, if there are problems, I would definitely say get onto Disney Plus help and let them know about that. Barbara said I want Disney to get Arthur the Kids TV. So is that the animated? Isn't that the animated Arthur show? Isn't it? Show. So that one there. So that one was PBS in the US. So who's got the? So that one Arthur show was made by. It's nothing to do with Disney at that point. They could license it, but we're not there able to get them. Right. Any more live questions? Feel free to pop them in. So we've got about 5 more minutes if we've got any more. If we don't get any more questions, then that'll be the end. So while we are waiting, just thank you very much for to all the live questions. It's always great to have all of these come in. It really makes a massive difference, especially when you get all the new ones coming in. It really makes it does, and all your support just means that we can cover the costs of running the website, running everything. So if you could help, it does make a massive difference, because it it's like the hosting fees, and they just continue to keep going up and stuff, and just everything. Right, so let's just have a look here. So we've got another one here from Joshua. I mean, if you look at Disney Plus it said episode 21 came out this week, when there's actually episode. To be honest, I mean, I know with the Twitter thing that they've been putting out, they have been putting in things wrong all the time. It happens so much in terms of how they do it. They're constantly getting things wrong. Especially in the US, it's again, I think there's so many people involved in it that they don't necessarily see what's going on. Josh has said, do you think it's likely that ITV will receive a takeover bid this year? If so, who do you think will do it? I don't know if anyone will. I don't think ITV will be allowed to be brought out by a US company anyway. If anything, I'd imagine like all these companies, I think like Kevin Mayer, he's got like this big company. They're just buying up everything they possibly can, because I think their idea is to sell content to the major networks, because there isn't going to be enough platforms for everyone. Joe said, I can't wait for the February list. I wonder what TV shows will be coming. Yeah, so generally we get the US list. We get the US list after the 15th, but sometimes it can be a little bit later. Let's just have a look, see what the date is. So it's the 15th is next Saturday. So I'm guessing it's probably going to be maybe the 17th or the 18th before we get the US what's coming up. And then the UK one will probably come a little bit later than that. So I'm not expecting anything this week. Two Big Rose said, I think the closest thing America Disney Plus have would probably be Glee or Bob's Burgers. They're definitely going to have to do a little bit more with adding content like that. Josh, you said, if it was decided that Channel 4 to be privatized, who do you think will be likely to buy it? I don't know I don't know if any of the big US companies could actually do it. I don't know if the big ones could. I think we're much more likely going to see somebody else coming in and doing it. Okay, so we've got a super chat here from the Jimmy Neutron guy. Thank you very much for your support. It really does mean a lot. Will the Wiggles movie be on Disney Plus? The Wiggles. Let's just have a look. See who. I know that is an Australian kids show. I remember seeing it on TV when I was traveling around Australia. So it is. So it was on ABC in Australia. So not the US ABC. So let's see here. We have see if we can find the movie. See loads of albums. The Wiggles movie. Here we go. Right. Okay. So this one was distributed by 20th Century Fox. So therefore, we have got a very good chance that this movie could end up on Disney Plus if they have, as I said, the distribution rights for like the music and all the rest of it. But the fact that it was distributed by 20th Century Fox, that really does make it a much higher chance of it going on there. Let's see if it is anywhere at the minute. Because that can also be if it's on a contract already. So the Wiggles movie. Here we go. That's a show. The Wiggles Fairy Tales. Was that a different movie? Yeah, it's the fact that it is definitely a 20th century title. I would say it's much more likely to be popping up there at some point. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. So we're just going to have a quick look here as well. Yeah, the Wiggle Movie 2. That's what I'm looking for. The Wiggle Movie 2. Movie. Let's see who we've got. I'm trying to find the information on it before you get Wiggle Movie 2. The Wiggle Movie 1. So the movie was released in North America from Hit Entertainment under the title Magical Adventure, a Wiggle Movie. So that might impact on where it can be released, because if it was released by somebody else, they might have the distribution rights to it. But yeah, so 20th century movie are much more likely then to be turning up at some point. Definitely. Hope that answers your questions. John said, any news of ESPN coming to Disney Plus? Well, here in the UK, obviously, we're getting lots of ESPN content now with all of these documentaries. Generally, I think they're going to have to wait until they work out what they're doing with BT Sport. It's still on the. I mean, I think they're definitely going to have to get this month out the way. It depends whether or not they're going to. The problem is now, if they start introducing live sports, for example, here in the UK or in Australia, that means the Disney Plus app. We're going to need an entirely different Disney Plus app, because if you look at like Star Plus has the live sports in, Disney Plus Hotstar has the live sports in, but Disney Plus in any other country doesn't have sports in. So that's a major reason. Let's see here. Ricardo said there are some upcoming movies for 20th Century Studios showing its logo by the title. Could you? Yeah, I definitely feel. I know we saw it with Vacation Friends where they were putting the logo in. It makes a lot of sense why they would do that. Definitely. Too Big Rose said, could you see any of the Fred movies coming to Disney anywhere, as it's a Disney Plus Latin America? I think I've seen something about that before somewhere. So I think aren't they making a new movie or something like that? I'm sure I remember writing an article about a Fred movie being made or something. I'm sure of it. Is it a Spanish or a French show? But I'm sure there was something. I definitely remember there being something about that one. So this is a super chat from RRK at 65. Thank you very much for your support. It really means a lot. Do you give any feedback yourself to Disney Plus? I think it depends on how you term feedback. Obviously, everything I write, and when my videos and my podcasts and stuff, people at Disney probably listen to it. I know that they do at least see stuff. I do get messages and stuff, so they're seeing it through that way. I am in communication through email with people at Disney, feeding back, asking questions about stuff. In terms of like giving feedback, like if something's, and also like if I'm doing a review, obviously that is, I will then send them a link after if they give it to me early, I then send them a link back saying this is what it is. Whether or not they read it, I don't know. But I think in terms of giving feedback, everything I put out there publicly obviously is feedback. So if if there's a problem with something going on right now, I put it out there. Sometimes as well, there can be feedback where I've put a few things to Disney and they've come back to me asking me for more information. And there was some rumors going around, and I didn't want to run the story till I found it. There's been a few times that that's happened where I've kind of gone for an official response before posting rumors and stuff, and they've been shut down. There's been quite a few times like that. So I am in doing send back to feedback. With regards to things like, if subtitles are wrong, I don't tend to go down that line. I don't tend to look too much into all of that kind of stuff. If there's something missing, I don't tend to do things like that. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of feedback coming in, but in a different way maybe than otherwise. But yeah, I'm definitely putting stuff in. Joe said, I looked online and it says Tailspin movie season 1 has 65 episodes, but episodes 64 and 65 are banned. Well, I would, that's what I would have assumed. That's what I would have definitely assumed. Baba says, sorry, I have cerebral palsy. You don't need to apologize. It's just, obviously, if I'm reading questions, I'm just going off your text. So but take your time, whatever you want to put in. The fact you want to watch Arthur, that's cool. It's honestly not a problem at all. But I definitely, like I said, if I'm reading your questions and stuff, that's just how I'm reading it. Too Big Rose said, could Skankavision come to Disney Plus Star? I've never heard of that show. Stankavision, is that a really bad version? It's a sketch show from MTV2. The fact that it's an MTV show, I would definitely say probably not very likely, unless Disney do a deal with them, but I wouldn't necessarily say so. Right, so we're going to have about 2 more minutes and then we'll wrap it up. Here we go. Tracy says, will we get Hulu here in the UK? Sorry, I keep asking questions. Tracy, you do not need to worry about apologizing for asking questions, and that goes to everyone. This is the whole point. This is what you guys are here for. This is what we do this show for. Especially if you are a YouTube channel member, this is what we're here for. This is what I do this for. So ask your questions. This is what I'm here. So you do not need to apologize in the slightest. Tracy's, so we're not going to get Hulu here because there's no real need for it now. If you look at Star, most of the content is in there. They are licensing stuff. The whole reason they didn't launch Hulu internationally was that because a third of it is owned by Comcast, aka Universal Sky, there wasn't really a need. If they made Hulu everywhere, they would owe them like 33%. So if they launched Hulu globally and they turned it into say $10 billion company, they still owe Comcast like $4 billion. So therefore, it didn't really make a lot of sense for them to do that when they could build up Disney Plus. I also think as well, since Disney Plus originally launched and when they had plans for launching Hulu and all the rest of it, the world's changed a lot in terms of streaming. It's speeded up, and also there's more competition. And I think as like Paramount, Peacock, and Netflix and Amazon, they're all offering everything in one place. Disney's strategy of doing multiple platforms isn't working. And Paramount are probably going to find a similar thing with their Showtime and stuff. But yeah, so again, so for you, so never worry about asking questions, and Baba, do not worry at all about anything like that. You've got no need to worry at all. Joe said, I hope the Lego Star Walker the Freemaker comes back to Disney Plus. Hope so too. That was a bit of a surprise removal, but some of the Lego stuff doesn't necessarily is not owned or made by Lucasfilm, so that might be why that one's going to be going. I actually flipped on TV this morning and they had like Lego Guardians of the Galaxy, and I've sat there in like 10 minutes going, why am I watching this? Okay, so John said, are we getting all episodes of Hit Monkey at once? Looks like it. I did reach out last month and ask. The fact that it's not on a schedule like episode 1, I'm assuming we're going to get them when they were a few months behind, but I would expect that we are. Right, so there we go. So that is all of this week's questions. Thank you very much for all of them. We had loads there. That was great. It's always great having lots of questions, because it really would be a much much quicker show if there was no questions. But again, thank you so much. Thank you very much to Jimmy the Neutron Guy and also RRK65 for your super chats. That is fantastic. Like I said, becoming a member it means you can take part in this weekly. I then put out a question during the week. If you're at a certain level as well, you get a shout out on the podcast. You also get your name at the end of videos. And again, you're helping support the channel and support everything, paying the bills, it all adds up, and your support really does make a lot of difference. And on that note, guys, hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I shall see you guys soon. Laters.